The Boston Celtics did something that almost no contender has the courage to attempt. They won the NBA trade deadline while chasing two goals that usually cancel each other out. They improved the roster and cut costs at the same time. 1 week after the deadline, the league is still trying to understand how Boston pulled this off. If you care about the future of the Boston Celtics, hit the like button right now, subscribe to the channel, and press the hype button, because what just happened could shape this franchise for years. Around the league, the narrative was chaos. Tanking teams acted like contenders acted scared of the tank, and front offices scrambled to protect flexibility. But while the noise distracted everyone, Brad Stevens stayed focused on one thing: the long-term dominance of the Boston Celtics. Turning Anthony Simmons into Nikola Vucevic was not just a swap of name, it was a calculated decision that moved Boston under the first apron, saved millions of dollars, and unlocked roster flexibility that most fans underestimate. Let's be clear, Simons brought scoring punch off the bench. That production matters. But Vucevic brought balance, post-scoring, floor space, playmaking from the center position, depth behind the starter. And when Peyton Pritchard slid back into the sixth-man role, the rotation made more sense. If Jason Tatum returns at full strength and absorbs more of the scoring, this adjustment will look even smarter in hindsight. The Celtics did not just replace talent, they corrected structure. And then came the quiet moves that truly defined the deadline. In the final hours before 3 o'clock in the afternoon on deadline day, Boston moved Chris Boucher, Josh Minott, and Xavier Tillman Sr. None were central pieces, none were part of the long-term rotation, but those deals pushed the Celtics completely under the luxury tax line. That matters. It removes team-building restrictions. It reduces repeater tax pressure that could cost tens of millions of dollars in future seasons. It protects flexibility for the summers ahead. Some will say ownership simply saved money. I disagree. This was strategic positioning. The Celtics sacrificed a slightly better draft asset and moved a younger player on an expiring contract. Yes, but they gained financial breathing room and a better roster without weakening their championship ceiling. That combination is rare. Saving money and getting better is not supposed to happen at the same time. Here is the uncomfortable truth for the rest of the league. The Boston Celtics navigated the 2026 NBA trade deadline better than almost anyone. They strengthened a position of need, avoided punitive financial penalty, and preserved their ability to spend aggressively when the moment is right. That is not luck. That is calculated management. So now the question becomes urgent. If this is what Brad Stevens can do under pressure, what happens when Boston pushes all its chips in with full flexibility and a healthy core? Are we witnessing the quiet setup for another championship window that the league is not ready for? The possibility of Giannis Antetokounmpo in a Boston Celtics uniform is no longer just fan fantasy. It became a real talking point during NBA All-Star Weekend when Giannis himself named the Boston Celtics as one of the franchises he has imagined playing. That statement changed the temperature around this organization. And if you follow the Boston Celtics closely, you understand that timing matters. In an interview with ESPN, Giannis made it clear that as of today, he remains committed to the Milwaukee Bucks. He praised his teammates, the coaching staff, and the front office. He even said, "You will never hear him say he does not want to be a Buck." But then he opened another door. He spoke about childhood dreams, about iconic franchise, about watching teams on television and imagining how it would work. And among those teams, he mentioned the Boston Celtics by name. That detail cannot be ignored. When a two-time most valuable player talks about championship path, about legacy, about sustained contention, and includes the Boston Celtics in that vision, it reinforces something important. Boston is not just competitive. Boston is structurally prepared. After the trade deadline, the Celtics positioned themselves below the luxury tax, created financial flexibility, and maintained a strong core built around Jason Tatum. Even with Tatum recovering from an Achilles injury, the Celtics have stayed relevant, disciplined, and strategic. Here is where the urgency builds. Giannis repeatedly used the phrase "as of today" when reaffirming his commitment to Milwaukee. In the NBA, wording matters. Windows close fast. Milwaukee faces questions about its long-term ceiling. Boston, on the other hand, has assets, flexibility, and a championship foundation. If a superstar ever evaluates his future based on structure, stability, and title probability, the Boston Celtics check every box. This is not about disloyalty. Giannis made that clear. It is about ambition. He spoke about hunger, about imagining different scenarios, about watching teams like the Celtics and wondering how it would work. That curiosity, combined with Boston's strategic positioning, creates a scenario the league cannot ignore. So now the conversation becomes unavoidable. If circumstances shift, if Milwaukee hits a ceiling, if Giannis prioritizes another championship run, where would he look first? And if the Boston Celtics are already in his imagination, are we witnessing the early signals of a move that could redefine the balance of power in the NBA? The 2026 NBA Draft is not just another date on the calendar for the Boston Celtics. It is a pressure point, it is leverage, it is opportunity. And depending on how the lottery balls fall, it could quietly reshape the next decade of Celtics basketball. Right now, projections around the league focus on other rebuilding teams. But the real question is this: how can the Boston Celtics position themselves to capitalize if a premium pick becomes available through trade or draft night movement? Boston has assets. Boston has flexibility, and Boston has a front office that has already proven it can strike when the moment is right. This draft class is loaded at the top. Cameron Boozer is viewed by many evaluators as a complete two-way engine. Darren Peterson is considered by scouts one of the most dynamic guard prospects in years, a potential franchise-level scorer with elite shot creation. AJ Debinca and Caleb Wilson bring size, athleticism, and immediate two-way upside on the wing. Any of these names would instantly elevate the long-term ceiling of the Boston Celtics if Brad Stevens finds a pathway into the top tier. But here is where it gets interesting. Even in the 8 to 12 range, there are guards and creators who fit Boston's identity. Ibuka Okori profiles as a cerebral pick-and-roll operator who can score at all three levels. Keaton Wagler brings elite perimeter shooting at 6'6" with advanced ball skill. Braden Burries offers two-way stability and offensive creation. Kingston Fleming, projected in the top 4, is a high-upside lead guard who controls pace and can run an offense from day one. Now ask yourself this: if the Boston Celtics package future assets, if they use financial flexibility created at the trade deadline, if they identify the right prospect to pair with Jason Tatum for the next era, how aggressive will they be on draft night? This is not about adding depth. This is about identifying the next foundation. The 2026 NBA Draft could be remembered as the night Boston secured its future star, or the night they shocked the league with a bold move no one saw coming. And if the Celtics believe one of these prospects is the missing piece to extend their championship window, will they hesitate or will they attack when the lights are brightest? If you believe the Boston Celtics are building towards something bigger, like this video right now, subscribe to the channel and click the hype button, because draft night might not just be about a pick. It might be about the next face of the franchise in Boston.